Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of A Different Point of View. I'm Konate, your host, and without further ado, let's get into today's topic. So, President Joe Biden has the opportunity, or will likely have the opportunity, to select his first nominee to the United States Supreme Court. And Joe Biden has committed himself to a black woman. Before I say anything else, I first want to say that I am elated and I am very excited about seeing a black woman on the Supreme Court. I think it's about time. And I've said this before, even though I am a black conservative, I am still rooting for everyone black. So the fact that she is a Democrat, that doesn't mean anything to me. If she is a good role model, if she's hardworking, if she's good for our people, good for the country, then I am rooting for her. His main nominee is Michelle Childs. That is the one that he has actually named by name. He has other nominees, but Michelle Childs seems to be the front runner of who Biden wants to select to the Supreme Court. Now, when I first heard the news, I was with my wife. And I said, honey, I'm going to turn to Fox. But before I turn to Fox, I already know what they're going to say. I already know the arguments that they are going to produce. They're going to say, this is reverse racism. They're going to say that to commit yourself to a black woman, what you're in actuality saying is that if you are a man, don't bother applying. Simply because you're a man, you don't qualify. They're going to say if you're Asian, simply because you're Asian, don't qualify. They're going to say if you are Latino, don't bother. You are disqualified simply because you're Latino. And if you are white, well, sorry, white people, you're white. I don't care how qualified you are. I don't care how many years you served. I don't care how educated you are. Just because you're white, don't bother to apply. Oh, and guess what? Me as a black male, I don't qualify. And let me tell you something, that's another video, because I noticed that anytime you talk about the elevation of black people and you're talking about a specific demographic of black people, it's always black women. It's always the strong black woman. Black women are leading America. Black women are saving America. There's a certain intentional elevation of black women at the expense of black men. Don't think I don't notice that. Oh, I definitely noticed that, but that's another video. They're going to argue that if Trump had did this, if Trump said, hey, my nomination to the Supreme Court will be a white male. If you're black, get back. If you're Asian, don't even think about it. If you're Latino, oh my gosh, if you're Latino, no, forget about it, because you probably belong on the other side of the wall anyways. If Trump had did that, you would have lost your mind. The other argument that they're going to produce is that how is it that Democrats and liberals are able to just break federal EOC laws without any impunity? If Trump did that, there would be lawsuits up the wazoo. They're going to make these arguments. And when I turn to Fox, like the genie that I am, that's the exact argument that they produced. And to be honest with you, I don't have a counter argument. I have no counter arguments. I have no answers. The only thing that I could say is that Trump kind of did the same thing when he was committed himself to nominating a female to the Supreme Court. You can argue that.
Will uphold equal justice under the law for citizens of every race, color, religion, and creed, I will be putting forth a nominee next week. It will be a woman.
But as excited as I am about Biden's nomination, there is a certain level of irony here, because Biden wasn't the first president to walk down this road of selecting the first black woman to the United States Supreme Court. It was actually George W. Bush. In 2005, George Bush was interested in nominating Judge Janice Rogers Brown to the Supreme Court. And it was actually Biden that threatened to kill her nomination with the filibuster. And this is a very smart, intelligent black woman. She served on the California Supreme Court for 7 years. She wrote more opinions than any of the judges at that particular time. She graduated from UCLA Law School. Biden gave no reason as to why he was going to filibuster her. Actually, if you don't believe me, watch the video for yourself.
President sends, but I could see a circumstance. For example, if he set up Edith Jones, I can assure you that would be a very, very, very difficult fight, and she probably would be filibustered.
What about Janice Rogers Brown? Someone else?
Excuse me, I'm not. By the way, I misspoke. Janice Rogers Brown is what I meant to say.
Oh, okay.
I misspoke. Thank you for saying
but
that.
wasn't she just confirmed though? How do you invoke the extraordinary circumstances clause of the agreement of the Gang of 14 for somebody who's just been confirmed?
It got to the point where President Bush was pleading with the Senate, let's just have an up and down vote. Please stop with the filibuster. Let the will of the Senate move forward. This is Bush pleading Biden to let this black woman be nominated.
Ugly politics in the United States Senate. These folks deserve an up or down vote on the Senate floor. These three women are being denied a chance to serve on the bench because of ugly politics in the United States Senate. These folks deserve an up or down vote on the Senate floor. If they get an up and down vote on the Senate floor, they will be confirmed because the majority of justices believe they should serve. And yet a few senators are playing politics. And it's wrong, and it's shameful, and it's hurting the system. I have told these three ladies, I will stand with them.
So the question that I have to ask myself is, how does Joe Biden get from a place where he is going to be the first president to possibly get the first black woman on the Supreme Court to killing the nomination of the potential first nomination to the Supreme Court? How do we get to those two different places? Again, since Joe Biden never gave an answer, I have to try to come up with my own logic. Again, this is my logic. I'm not saying that it's facts. I'm not saying that that is the proof or is the truth. This is just my logic because Joe Biden never really gave an answer. So, is it because Janice Rogers Brown was a Republican? Is that what it is? Because keep in mind, and just a quick note, Biden also blocked the first Latino male from being on the Supreme Court. In 2001, he blocked Miguel Estrada, he would have been the first Latino male.
Estrada is described by many, and certainly many on the right. I mean, this is a thorn on the side of Republicans. It was a purely partisan filibuster, as described by most Republicans, that kept Miguel Estrada from becoming an appeals court federal justice. And then he had her say that Miguel Estrada is her friend, and then he asked her if he'd be competent enough to be an appeals court justice, to which she trumped him and said not only would he be a good appeals court justice, he'd be a good Supreme Court justice.
It is a sticking point with those of us who are conservative and thought Miguel Estrada should have been on the bench, and that the Democrats went after him for he wasn't the right kind of Hispanic. Terrible reasons, and he's a brilliant man.
So is it because the Democrats did not want a Republican president to be the first to select a Latino male and a black woman to the Supreme Court? Could that be what it is? And if it is that, what does it matter? What does it matter if the first president to do it is a Republican or Democrat? What does it matter? So I'm asking myself this question. I'm saying, so wait a minute. Democrats heavily rely on the black vote. If the Democrats are not pulling a very high percentage of the black vote, if they're not pulling a very high percentage of the Latino vote, well, they don't get to be president. They don't get Senate seats. They don't get many House seats. They lose their grip on power. That's how dependent on these votes they are. We are talking about 96% of the black vote Democrats are getting. Now, if you have a Republican president nominate a Latino male and a black woman to the Supreme Court, is it possible that it doesn't fit the narrative that all Republicans are racist and all Republicans want to put black people back in slavery and all Republicans want to see black people back in chains? That is a narrative that Democrats rely on to get black people to come out in large numbers and vote Democrat. If Democrats only get, let's say, 80% of the black vote, well, guess what? They lose their power. Is that the reason? Is it about political games? Those are my thoughts, YouTube. I would love to hear yours. Oh, please support the merch, and as always, buy black. You can find the merch in the description box. And as always, like, share, and subscribe. This is Konate with another episode of A Different Point of View. Peace. The chair is yours, YouTube. Subscribe and please comment.